Rahim. Assalamu alaikum. Let me start by reading a letter that I sent to Imam Muhammad, informing him on March 24th, 2004, of a meeting in the South, a dignified meeting, I would say, an important meeting, and historic, I would say. So I sent this to the Imam. I want to start. Assalamu alaikum. Dear Imam Muhammad, I pray that this brief letter will find you in the best of health and spirit. The purpose of this letter is to inform you that the program in Atlanta was very productive and interesting. On Saturday, March 20th, I was allowed to make comments about the ASM reorganization efforts and entertain questions at an imams meeting that consisted of about 20 imams from the Southeast. It was held at the Atlanta Masjid of Al-Islam. The imam, as you can see his name, of Albany, Georgia, was the convener, and the imam of the Atlanta Masjid was the host imam. I have enclosed an audio tape of my comments, questions, and answers. It appears as if there's an effort there to form another association with a different name, mainly for that area. That's how I saw it. On Sunday, March 21st, 2004, I gave a lecture at Masjid Al-Mu'minun in Atlanta. It was well received. There were questions and answers about the ASM reorganization effort. It was very positive. I have also enclosed an audio tape of my lecture with question and answer. I was also interviewed live on cable television program hosted by a sister from our community. Most of the questions centered around my background in the ASM. Brother Sabir K. Muhammad of Atlanta, a contributing writer of the Muslim Journal, interviewed me in my hotel room Sunday morning, March 21st, 2004. He also attended the lecture at Masjid Al-Mu'minun. That appeared in the Muslim Journal. Brother Sabir asked me a question that I think is quite revealing. He asked me if I felt that I was divinely inspired by God to do what I am doing concerning the ASM. I told him no. I told him that I was simply motivated by the fact that our leader, Imam W. Deen Muhammad, expressed that he did not want to see the ASM dissolve. He also told me, the brother also told me that he knew that some people were looking at this as being similar to what Minister Farrakhan did when he picked up the name Nation of Islam after you dropped it. I told him that as far as I am concerned, what I am doing is very different than Minister Farrakhan did. The interview may appear in the Muslim Journal. I don't think those questions will appear in the Muslim Journal, but it did on April 9th. Let me also mention something that is worth noting. On Thursday, March 18th, 2004, I received a phone call at home from someone from the New Journal and Guide newspaper located in Norfolk, Virginia. When I spoke with the gentleman who identified himself as Mr. Coleman, I asked him who gave him my phone number. He said Imam Vernon Fareed of Virginia. May Allah forgive him and grant Vernon the highest level of Jannah. Mr. Coleman said he was calling to talk to me about the ASM reorganization effort and the upcoming meeting in Atlanta. I haven't spoken to Imam Vernon in 4 months. Again, overall, my weekend in Atlanta was very productive and very interesting. I will continue to keep you informed. May Allah bless you and your family with peace and progress in this life and the next. Mustafa El-Amin. Pardon me for reading kind of fast because I want to play the video and I want to get it all in, hopefully in just part one, okay? And hopefully you can go back and read the letter a little slower.
And that we can make it here. Let me report that there are some imams that called, and I shared it with you, those that called and just couldn't make it but wanted me to read. Imam Mustafa El-Amin.
It won't take long, inshallah. Yeah. This what we're giving out is just a folder from the one of the meetings that we had in these talks in Rule concerning the organization of the Muslim Group. I brought about 17 of these. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. I greet you, brothers. Assalamu alaikum. Dear imams, sisters. First, I want to thank Imam Hanif and Imam Clement Tawheed El-Amin and all of you all for allowing me to make some brief comments here at your meeting. So good to see all of you. You know, we don't see each other like this too often, unless it's at the convention or something. As we all know, there's a lot of talk in the community and our centers concerning the American Society of Muslim and our efforts to, inshallah, to try to reorganize the American Society of Muslims. I, like most of us, had resigned as well from the American Society of Muslims. And only after reading some things in the Muslim Journal and discussion with our leader, Imam Muhammad, that I decided to retract my statement. And since then, we've been working hard to reorganize. Now, I do want to share with you all as brothers, as fellow imams, knowing that even though we resigned it in our communities, the believers themselves may have different opinions on this. I know that for a fact because I get a lot of emails, a lot of phone calls, a lot of letters myself from the various believers and Muslims in the community about what I'm doing or what should be done, et cetera, et cetera. So even though we may have resigned, including myself when I had resigned, the believers in the community, they still were not clear on what was Imam Muhammad's, what was he signaling to us, and what should we actually be doing. Now, in maybe about 10 minutes or 5 minutes, I can go through this briefly. Our reason and what motivated it was really in the Muslim Journal, and there's some questions about that, but there was an interview which was done by Nathaniel Omar on the 10th of, I believe it was September, and it ran in the Muslim Journal. And Imam Muhammad had indicated certain things. I'm sure most of you may be familiar with that. But one statement that had caught my attention at Masjid Ibrahim, which we didn't resign really until maybe a week before Imam Muhammad came to Newark, which was on October 31st. And what caught our attention, or my attention, was his statement here from the Muslim Journal, and there's supposedly a quote from Imam Muhammad. It says, "Those imams who are with me and really support me, if you are going to stay with the ASM, I will be happy to see that, for they should want the ASM to be better." To be better, he went on to mention we should know the element that's working against us and working against his leadership. And we should just be aware there should not be a witch hunt. But anyway, when Imam Muhammad came to Newark on October 31st for a tribute that we had given him in Newark, I was with him at the dinner table, and I had just mentioned to him that I had resigned a week before he came. And he said to me, he said, like I told Imam Furqan from here, I didn't ask anyone to resign. He said, I was hoping that they would work to make it better, work to correct it and make it better. That's what he told me. Now, you can either believe me as well as the paper, but we also, inshallah, have something else. So I immediately said to him, he said, rather than abandon it, they should try to correct it, etc. You know? I said, well, I'll retract my statement. It was just like that, you know. I said, it's just, how do I do that? You know, what would be, and he said, well, just as easy as you resign, you know, you can retract your statement. And we conversated a little more, and I mentioned to him that, you know, the Islamic Affairs Council, which we were on, which I served on with Imam Clement and a few others, that we had dissolved it. And he said, Mustafa, I didn't do that. He said, I didn't do that. I said, I know that, Brother Imam. I know how it happened. You know, I was on it. And so it was at dinner, so that kind of broke up. Then we went down to Robert Treat. There's a hotel there where we was having a program to actually honor him, where there were speakers, etc. So I brought the conversation back up about the retraction. Brother Imam, you know, how can I do this? So we had a discussion concerning what had happened, some of the things that had happened concerning his resignation, and I began to write my retraction. I can say to you on my credits, and for a matter of fact, that Imam Muhammad wanted to see some of us work together with the good, work together to reorganize, to correct, and to make the ASM better rather than abandon the ASM. I'll put my word on it, and whatever my credits may mean to any of us. After that, you saw the retraction. We did the retraction and began working in that way. Well, at the first meeting that Imam Muhammad has, the monthly meetings in Chicago, the first one that he had, it was in October. I was at that meeting. And there's a group in Chicago that's working to help in the Chicago area. They had a meeting with Imam Muhammad, as they have maybe quarterly meetings or so with him. And during that meeting, they raised the same question. And the brother gave me the tape of that. And he said, you will need this. So what you have in your folder is an excerpt, and I want to just take 2 minutes. It's only about, I only took what pertained to the ASM on this tape, okay? That's about 2 minutes, 5 minutes, something. I don't think it's no more than 5 minutes. So I just want to take the opportunity to play just a clip of that, and you have that as well. What you have is a clip that deals directly with it. Then I'll put it on there again so that you can have what was said before he said it and what was said after it, to kind of give it in the full text. So let me just, I don't know if this mic gives us sound, but hopefully you can hear it from this tape. Otherwise, you'll have it yourself. You know, this always happens. Either nothing is on the tape or it takes longer than it usually does.
Well, you know, I asked the question because, you know, it was easy to say that there's so many centers that are, you know, designing, and they every week it's more and more and more. And so I guess my bigger question was, is it your intent for ASM to dissolve, or?
No, I really want them not to dissolve. I want them to bring their best leaders forward.
That's what we thought, Brother Ray.
And do the right thing, right.
That's what we
And
thought.
on their own, not in my name.
Yes.
So they can claim all the shortcomings on me, you know. So that still can happen. That still can happen. We're still hoping that will happen.
Now, I cut it here, then we pick up again with the exact same thing, but with conversation before that concerning the mosque cares and information that led to that question, and then information that his conversation after that, so you can get it sort of in full text. But I don't know if you can hear it, but what was asked was the sister, she asked, she said, we're seeing all these resignations in the paper. Was it your intent that the ASM be dissolved? Now, you all have this tape. Okay, I brought it here. And he said, no, I was hoping that would not happen, that they would bring their best leaders forward and make it work, but not in my name so as to blame it all on him. And that's why I want to say to you also, when people say, well, Mustafa, we're looking for the imam to say something. If you go ask the imam and he comes out and say something, I'm clear on what he says. And just from working in that situation, he says, no, do this, not in my name. He said, that still can happen. We're hoping that can happen. Now, I want to put this in a time frame. This took place October 22nd, 2003, okay? A week before he came to Newark on October 31st. When I asked him the same question, that was on a Friday. When I asked him, this took place on a Wednesday. So when I mentioned to him that I resigned, I didn't even ask him the question. He said, like I told you, Mom, before quiet, I didn't ask nobody to resign. He said, I wanted them to make it better. And then he said, I don't know why they won't work to make it better, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I just wanted to take this opportunity, and thank you for the opportunity to bring forward to you all why I'm doing what I'm doing. And we as the leaders in the community can, if you so decide, to think about the decision that we have made concerning the ASM, concerning resigning from the ASM. Now, I can be naive. I indicated this to Imam Muhammad. I can be naive. With no ill intent or selfish motives, I thought that once I spoke to the Imam, it was clear I spoke to the Imam, and I put this retraction in the paper because people knew me and knew, at least I felt and knew that I was loyal to Imam Muhammad and the work that I did to the community, and I wouldn't step out like that, that people say, oh, we better look at this. If there's a retraction coming from Mustafa and Imam was just in Newark, then hold up, maybe we'll stop our resignations. And I thought that we would start retracting our resignations and come together and try to work to make the ASM better on our own to make it better. And making it better, as I have in our statement, we have here, which was developed at the meeting, the East Coast meeting in Newark on February 21st, we developed a purpose for reorganizing the ASM. What would be our purpose? What is our purpose as we move forward? Our purpose for reorganizing the American Society of Muslims is to bring it more in line with the vision and plans of Imam Muhammad and our community. Because he said the problem was there was those in leadership among us who refused to give him open and full support. It was not in line, not that he wanted it to necessarily be dissolved. It is our hope in reorganizing the ASM that we will be a positive organization whose leaders demonstrate open and full support for Imam W.D. Muhammad and his initiatives. Those of us who accept this responsibility of our own free will, and my presentation today, and that's not my mindset, is to try to force anyone to say, hey, you're wrong for resigning, or we should, or try to force it on anybody, or say, no, brother, you're wrong, I'm right, you're wrong. No, it's about the work, as we all know. You can call it NBC, ABC, MAS, whatever you want to call it. It's about the work. And the Imam made it clear to us, whether you resign or not doesn't have anything to do with your relationship with him. It's about the work, etc. Okay, so those of us who accept this responsibility of our own free will do so with the clear understanding that the Quran, the life example of Muhammad the Prophet, and the commentary of Imam Muhammad are our main sources of reference. So, and I thank you for those brief moments, and I just want to let you know that we're moving forward, and we intend to do our best. And I will say that, yes, I know I can't do this by myself, and I don't mean I say we can't do it by ourselves. We are reaching out for help because we know in our community, among the leaders and among the people, There are those who are qualified, those who know how to organize, those who know how to move this community forward. We just need to be committed to correcting, if we're going to identify with the ASM, and no one has to, the ASM, then we ought to be working to make it better, to show greater support for Imam W.D. Muhammad. And I have to say, on a personal note, being here at this meeting of the Southern Association of Masajids and Centers, that I'm quite impressed myself with the way things seems to be developing as you're moving through and reading the reports, etc. Because the main thing is about the work, whatever we call ourselves. But there is a need, I'm finding, for those of us that are in the ASM to make it clear that we are with Imam W.D. Muhammad, because we're being criticized because of misunderstanding, misconceptions, for somehow being seen as not being with the Imam Muhammad because he resigned, and how dare you, if he resigned, how dare you say you're going to keep this going? But believe me, it's not done without some support, without some kind of evidence and some kind of support, and without some kind of consultation. So again, yes, this is an appeal to us as the leaders to at least rethink maybe the decision that we had made, and also be aware of the fact that what I'm doing with others, that it is with some kind of support, some kind of validity to it. So if the questions have come to you, you will be better equipped. So I thank you, and if there's any questions, I'm willing to entertain it, those questions. And again, I thank you all very much. Alhamdulillah. Assalamu alaikum.
Let me offer a couple of things. The not in my name part is, for me, that's the touchy part.
Yes, sir.
To do anything legal,
Mm-hmm.
with mission statement and everything else, it's tied to the man's name. You know, what you have here,
Mm-hmm.
you know, it's different ways to look at it, not in my name. I think the way you're looking at it is part of it.
Okay.
And that he's not going to tell us how to do this or what
Right.
to do.
Mm-hmm.
But the other part has always been there with the Imam, and that's part of the resignation. It's just like somebody opened up a business and they want to give the Imam some shares.
Yes.
He said, well, you can't give me no shares without my permission.
That's right.
You know.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, his position has always been, don't use his name, don't obligate him legally without his permission.
Right.
So I'm having a concern. I hear when he says not in my name. I hear, yes, you all do this,
Mm-hmm.
but don't do this upon W.D. Muhammad's name.
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so where it becomes an issue, you know, we all recognize ourselves in association, and that he's our leader.
That's right.
Without a doubt.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
And most of us understand, I think all of us understand that, you know, probably not going to be a one-man leader again after him. It's probably
Mm-hmm.
something different.
Mm-hmm.
But the question is to legalize to the ASM and to use the mission statement, vision statement, and the way you're going now, you're really going to have to get the Imam's stamp of approval,
Mm-hmm.
because before you patent that name or anything,
Mm-hmm.
you know, because his name is tied into it. And I think that's where the difficulty is going to come.
I don't think where's his name tied in? You mean in our statement saying the commentary of Imam Muhammad?
The vision statement.
Right. Mm-hmm. Commentary. That's why we use the language commentary versus. See, if you remember the old vision
I
statement.
understand, but think about yourself.
Okay.
Put
Yes, sir.
yourself in that position.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm starting a business, I'm starting an organization,
Yes.
and I'm using your name in my bylaw,
I understand. Mm-hmm.
don't you want to?
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I've heard you, man. I've seen it, but
Mhm.
that's where.
I understand. But I don't want anyone to leave here with thinking that I haven't in any way communicated with Imam Muhammad. Exactly what you have here, exactly this exact package, has in fact been sent to Imam W.D. Muhammad with a letter. This exact package of the results of this. This was some results, and it's a draft, as you can see. Results of a East Coast Imams meeting, and it was sent to Imam Muhammad, indicating, and many of you know how Imam Muhammad operates in these matters, that if there is any problem with anything that we're doing, suggestions or advice, please let us know. And he was in the area last week. We were in Newark together after this package had been sent, and he most certainly had received the package, and there was no indication on his part. Now, this is not to say per se, I know, that's not to say, but I'm only addressing your question. No, I know it can be touchy. I understand. I understand. Yes, sir. Right.
We're getting out there, and you're asking
Right.
to get out there, so you got to know that you got the
Right. Yes, sir.
of what you're putting in writing.
Right, right, right.
That's where it's very technical.
Once it's in writing, yes. Well, we're moving forward at this. I mean, we really just started. It seems to me, believe me, it's been a lifetime, but it's only been a few months. So we're moving forward, and like I said, we appreciate this meeting, because one of the first things that have to be done is trying to clear up the misconceptions and to let people know that it's okay to do this. Now, how we do it is that this is why I'm saying we can't do it by ourselves, and we're looking for people who have the expertise, the know-how, etc., to help us. But the big cloud, believe it or not, and many of you know this, is should you even be doing this, and can you do this? I don't know if you're aware of that, but that's the big cloud. Not even so much how you should do it, but you shouldn't even be doing this, because Imam Muhammad resigned, and his resignation was a signal to us that we should resign. So that's what the first phase is invitation is to try to go out and clear up that no, it's okay. You can be NBC, ABC, ASL, whatever you want to be, but there's nothing wrong, and Imam Muhammad is not against. In fact, he hoped this is what we would do. Now, how you do it, the legal things that's involved is a whole nother approach. And so this is what I'm taking upon myself, and this is why, again, I really appreciate the invitation here, and I appreciate the invitation to be at Masjid al-Mu'minun and the other places that we're attempting to go to. But I'm hoping that this will help all of us, because the believers, I get indications, you know it, they may be asking you all kind of questions. So whether you become ASM or not, at least you're equipped with something else to say, well, no, from what we get and what we see, no, it's nothing wrong with being in the ASM or whatever other organization you want to be in. But brothers, you need to know, and I can't emphasize it enough, the onslaught of attacks, misconceptions, that we receive from our fellow believers, fellow Muslims, because of the misconceptions of the ASM is dead, it should be finished, we shouldn't be trying to bring it back, and all of these things. But we're moving forward, and we know that's par for the course. Yes, Assalamu alaikum.
My question is, if all your energies, time is being tied up, just trying to answer this question, then why is it that you want it to remain as ASM?
Well, all of mine, I appreciate that question, because at our meeting in February, the spirit was, don't even use any energy on that. Let's just get busy organizing and reorganizing and doing what we have to do. And overall, that is our spirit. But there is a certain amount of time that will be devoted to just trying to clear the air. That's all. Because, and you asked the question, one reason is, in fact, I would say the main reason is because when I said to the leader, I resign, and his response was, I didn't ask anybody to resign. I wanted them, and you just heard the tape. He said, I wanted the best of the leaders to go forward. We're hoping that will happen. That could still happen. So that's what moved me, and moving me to go ahead on and do that is that the leader indicated that he hoped that's what they would do. Make it better, fix it up. Those who want to stay and do that. Just those who want to stay and do that. So that's what's moving me, Brother Imam. That's what's moving me to go ahead on and do that. And I'll tell you what helps is we're finding that there are many others in the leadership and many others in the broader community that supports this and thinks this is a good idea and didn't necessarily see us resigning as the answer. And I say that because I resigned. Please understand that. I resigned also. And there's a lot that don't see that as the way. And so we're getting a lot of support, we're getting a lot of encouraging words, et cetera, et cetera. But again, it's the how you do this. And so again, there's an appeal on my part, most certainly, for help for those who are interested. And there's response to that, but I'm even, in answering your question, putting that out on the floor as well. Yes, sir.
I hear what you say, and I'm not doubting it anyway, but I'm looking at what the Imam asks us to do.
Yes.
And not what he asks us not to do.
Yes.
He asks us in the paper, he says, if you want to, or if you support my leadership,
yes,
these are the things I want you
That's
to
right.
do.
That's right.
So I'm pretty sure that when the majority of us, or the individual master or center, send him that, he would actually tell that person, this is what I want you to do, step by step, because that's the way it was in the paper. See, so to me to reclaim ASM is not as important as sending him that information.
That's right.
So he can tell me as an individual master or individual center what to do. And that's where I'm looking at the energy should be.
Well, you can do both, and I don't know that the Imam is looking to tell an individual masjids what to do as individual masjids per se. I don't know that that's what he's looking to do.
When I
Right.
read the Muslim Journal, that's what he said. He said, send me the
Oh, right, the deeds and those kinds of things. Right, but that's right. Well, he indicated too that whether you stay or resign from ASM if you resign doesn't automatically mean you're going to have a relationship with him. You know, and I didn't play the whole tape, but on the tape that you have, he's discussing that with this group. I didn't want to take he's discussing how he doesn't want his office to be a national structure to house our national community. Those are specific words. He said, that's here. And he said to me, and he said it to this group before me, and he said it at the Sunday at the Ramadan session. He said, I'm not recruiting. He's not saying, leave ASM and come and join the Mosque Cares. He said that, he indicated to me, because I would be like you. I'm sure you would have asked some of these questions too. Well, what about people just, figuring you leaving without you saying anything? Yeah, they should leave too. I mean, that's the indication to some of us of loyalty. You don't need to tell me to leave if you leave. He said, yeah, but I'm not recruiting. I'm not leaving and saying you can come over here to the Mosque Cares. But the point is, you can be in whatever organization and still do those things. You can still be in the organization and support Imam Muhammad. In fact, that's what I'm looking for. How can we in the ASM, or any of us, but I'm saying us in the ASM, in the near future, make some kind of open and public, show some kind of open and public support for the plans and initiatives of Imam Muhammad. And where I'm coming from, I don't just mean an open letter. I mean either some kind of financial contribution or, purchase of salon nutritions or things like that. But to answer your question, you can do both. Now, if it's just one person trying to do all these things, then you're right. But if you got a team, then some can do certain things. Yes, sir.
This will be our last question. They think he's going to have a wedding later on.
No.
Okay.
Is it okay? Assalamu alaikum. Wa alaikum assalam.
I'd just like to raise a point. He was speaking as an individual, but we had a conflict to arise out of the fact that we sent our section representative to Chicago to meet with Imam Muhammad.
Yes.
And as a result of the fact that he hadn't resigned from ASM,
Yes.
he was denied access.
Yes. I heard about that. That kind of spearheaded and caused the spiral to spin, because I'd heard about that also. And what I've come to understand by that, because I resigned too now, okay? What I've come to understand is if I call ASM meeting, is to discuss ASM business. The way I've come to understand this, I don't say this is the answer, is if you all resign, everybody here resign. Imam Muhammad said, well, I want to talk to those that resign. I don't need to talk to you because I guess whatever he wants to talk about only pertains to those that resign or did not resign. So that's how I understand. But from that, it was word that went out, no, you should resign because brother so-and-so, he was denied a meeting with the imam because he had not resigned. And then it kind of took off like that. But still, and we know Imam Muhammad, we can't attempt in any way to gauge or put him in any kind of, jar or anything like that. Imam Muhammad indicated he never told anyone, he didn't indicate to resign. Now, we may have taken that to mean that in order for us to have a relationship with Imam Muhammad, we have to resign. So I mean that kind of got it going. But I'm familiar with that. But again, I have to say what was in the paper, what Imam Muhammad said to me, and now what I'm hearing and giving you all what he said to another group. Now, signals could have been taken from that. And that's why some people were saying about me, Mustafa, especially back home, you sure? Like with Flair, are you sure? Are you sure? Because I'm not moving out there like this on just a signal, because I could read the signal one way and it could be reading it totally wrong. But yeah, I'm familiar with that, and I can just say that that was not necessarily meant as a conclusive statement that the brother had did anything wrong by not resigning, or that he would not have a relationship with the imam in the future. It may have just been that particular meeting, or whatever he had to talk to Vernon and all them about, right? Vernon kind of wrote it up. If I recall, some of what they were talking about had to do with organization. That you can have, that I think the imam said there will be several organizations that, based on their questions, there may be several organizations and those kind of things. I mean, I don't want to misquote it. So I guess the way I would take it, if I was already still in the ASM, I'm already in the organization, maybe you don't need to talk to me about organizations. I don't know. I don't want to go out on a limb on that, but that did kind of get it going. And I hope I answered it, or at least made some comments on that.
If you have no questions, please allow spend time. No the business.
Okay.
You can ask questions directly.
Yes, sir.
I would like to ask you to use a little bit more caution with your zeal.
Yes, sir.
Number one, as an association, we agreed to have a loose association.
That's right.
To give ourselves a name.
Yes, sir.
And I think in the last meeting, Pleeman also asked us personally in terms of tying in Atlanta Masjid with that name being thrown out there. Now, what happened in the Muslim Journal is that you announced that you were going to attend this meeting with an association that agreed to keep their name loose,
right? Especially
not to send it to Muslim Journal, nor to also tie in a masjid with it. And in your zeal, you announced to the community that you were attending our meeting, which we didn't want our name to be broadcast publicly, also tied into the Atlanta Masjid of Al-Islam. So some of the emotions that are coming towards you, you're creating in your zeal.
I appreciate that.
Secondly, we've taken sure as independent centers and masajid, within our community, everybody doesn't agree with what the majority agree.
Yeah.
But your emails that might come from those who were outvoted creates a fitna for our community. So with the spirit of unity, if you're moving forward with an independent movement, let it have a life of its own. But you're going around the country.
At invitation.
I understand.
Yes, sir.
But I'm just talking to you right now.
Yes, sir.
I'm saying as a part of when we come together at the Ramadan session
Yes.
of the Mosque Presidents,
Yes.
all of the Amen supporters
Yes.
will be there.
Yes.
And we may be there in different forms and fashion.
Right.
So we can all support Imam Muhammad.
That's right.
Our zeal is to be progressive and
Right.
to do that.
Yes.
I don't think we're going to become a part of the American Society of Muslims.
Right.
But because you've met with us, we have
Mhm.
to address that.
Mhm.
We have to address that.
Again, first of all, I do appreciate your advice. I'm not attempting in any way to try to bring everyone back to the American Society of Muslim or say you should join or not. Just mainly to give you information here. There are enough people that have, believe me, that have expressed through emails, through letters, through phone calls, more than enough that have expressed that they still identify with the American Society of Muslims and they would like to identify with the American Society of Muslims. So I'm not, I'm hoping that it's not being misunderstood, that I'm not in any way, even to this group saying, hey, you got to come on back in. Yes,
But I
sir.
hope you take his point to heart.
No, I do.
Because
I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
connection is something that
Mhm.
can continue to cause reverberation.
Mhm.
And our association here being loosely knit,
Mhm.
we took sure that we weren't going to broadcast ourselves, we were just going to do the work. But is it my understanding from Brother Ronald that you put us out there on Front Street like that? Just straightforward.
That I advertised that I would be invited to this meeting.
Like it was advertised.
Yes, but not
With or without our permission.
with what I understood to be permission.
No, there was no invitation.
Right.
Mustafa El-Amin called me and asked me to be addressed as a group. I said, we have an open meeting.
Right.
Just make sure that.
I understand. And you have my humblest apologies if I crossed that line, but as I understood it, I wanted to know how we should. Believe me, I was very cautious about this, at least in my thinking, and I tried to express this. I wanted to be clear about what language I should use in that ad. I'm sensitive to that, and I wanted to be clear on that. That's why, we toyed between Mustafa El-Amin will be speaking at the meeting, Mustafa El-Amin will be making an address, so, we toyed with comments, so as not to, make it, comments versus being invited versus I'm inviting myself, so we did try our best to be aware of the sensitivities that's involved.
One of the things that the reason why I get this though, Mustafa, is that,
Okay.
see, really the natural way is that Mu'minun, who invites you, puts an ad in the paper.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, this, when the imam gets invited somewhere,
Right.
he's not putting the ad in the place that invites him. So, Imam Furqan, if he's putting the ad in the paper, then he knows, because he's a part of the association, he knows that we're really not using his name. We use his name very loosely just to identify ourselves. He knows that if he's going to put an ad in the paper and he's going to have Atlanta vested in it, he knows that he's going to talk with me. He knows where everything's going. But because the way you're doing it, if you're actually advertising your meeting with there, then that, you're not privy to all the other information.
Right.
That's one thing. But the second thing I want to make sure you understand about us, because see, in the South, we're a little slower, But understand this, because it is a different environment. We basically we're not looking at ourselves as out that the ASM is dead other than as a name. We look at it that the members are still here, the association is still here. And just the word
That's right.
is what's there, but the body and the membership,
it's still
we look
there.
at it, it's still alive. Okay, which is a huge difference from some of the things that are confronting you up in the north.
Right.
They're looking at that the whole thing is there.
Right.
We're there.
Right, and Mustafa, right.
We're not, and that's why this ain't no new meeting for us. This is
Right, no, I
the same
understand.
meeting we've had for years and years and years. See, so for us, it's just that, okay, This ASM is problematic. The name comes from the imam. Now,
Right.
ASM comes from the imam.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
We went through all
That's
this
right.
discussion.
That's right.
It ain't-
That's right. That's not ours. That's right. That's not. That's his name. That's
So we
right.
basically are taking a position, okay, let's continue to work, let's
That's right.
continue to associate,
Mhm.
and Allah knows best, we end up with the name. So
Right.
it's not about rebuilding
Mm-hmm.
the ASM from our standpoint. It's
I understand from your standpoint, right.
At some point, a name is gonna come up
Right.
for the
Right.
members that associate with Imam W.D. Muhammad
Mhm.
and everything,
Yes.
and we'll identify with that, but.
Mm-hmm.
So-
Okay. Okay. Well, I appreciate it, and I know the climate is different in different places, northeast, southwest, and that's why if you read the article in the paper and we say draft is because again the input from different places, inshallah, will help us along the way. I mean, we're still early in this. We're going to stumble. We're going to make some mistakes, a lot of mistakes. Again, I appreciate it, and I know the climate is different in different places, northeast, southwest, and that's why if you read the article in the paper and we say draft is because again the input from different places, inshallah, will help us along the way. I mean, we're still early in this. We're going to stumble. We're going to make some mistakes, a lot of mistakes, I'm sure. And but what we want to be on record is as at least reaching out to others for their input, for their advice, et cetera, et cetera. So if nothing else, they can say, well, in his zeal or in his ego, he's doing this, he's doing that. But you can't say the brother, didn't come and try to reach out and try to take advice from us, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So that's what I want to most certainly be on record in doing in order to make this a success, if it's Allah's will, that it will be a success in one way or another, inshallah.
So then you have this other issue going down the line.